This episode of the Young Turks is brought to you by WestHost, offering premium web hosting since 1998. Go to westhost.com/TYT for 25% off. WestHost! WestHost, WestHost!
This gentleman's name is Wael Ghonim. He is a 30-year-old Egyptian. He works for Google. He is in charge of overseeing North America and the Middle East in regards to, let me give you his exact title, marketing. He does marketing, and he's out of Dubai. But like I said, he's Egyptian. He's got a family. He's got kids. And he started a Facebook page after some terrible brutality by the Egyptian government. And it was a 28-year-old businessman in Alexandria, Khaled, who was beaten to death by two cops. And, of course, the cops, as usual, said, oh, no, he just choked on some pills and it was asphyxiation. And then, of course, we saw the pictures in reality of how badly he was beaten. And, in fact, of course, it was the cops who had literally beaten him to death. And so Ghonim started this this Facebook page saying, hey, we are all Khaled Said, right? I blew up to over 400,000 people on that page. And that was where everybody started to gather and organize for the protests. And in the beginning, when they went out to do the protests, they thought, we'd be lucky if 50 people show up. We'll probably get beaten right away, and then it'll be over in a couple of hours. But all of a sudden, thousands of people started showing up. And that's the power of the internet. And it's so appropriate that this guy works in Google. 2 days after the protests start, the Egyptian government realizes he started up that Facebook page. They snatch him. Total illegal kidnapping, okay? And they blindfold him, and they keep him in detention for 12 straight days. So he's blindfolded the whole time, doesn't know what's going on, interrogated over and over, right? Finally, they let him out. And when they let him out, people were so relieved because they, for most of that time, people had no idea what happened to him. They don't know if he died. They don't know what happened, right? God knows what the police could have done to him. So he comes out, and he tweets out that he is, basically free now. Goes on television in Egypt. It is a network called Dream TV. It's a privately owned satellite channel. And for the first time, most Egyptians now realize he's the man behind that Facebook page that began all this stuff, right? And he gives an incredibly emotional interview to this channel. He keeps saying over and over, we are not traitors, we are not traitors. And he said, we love Egypt, we have rights. And at that point, they give him pictures of the people that had died during the protest. Now, that's nearly 300 people have died in the protest. And remember, he's locked away for 12 days, has no idea what's going on. And they showed him the pictures of the kids and the guys that died during the protest. And he breaks down crying. And it's an incredibly emotional interview, and he says, it is, quote, it is the fault of everyone who held on tight to authority and didn't want to let go. And so many people through Egypt saw this interview, were moved by this interview. There's an article about 33-year-old mothers bringing their daughters out saying, I wanted them to see him and I wanted them to be part of this. And I felt like all those kids out there in the protests were like my sons. And so he comes in and is going to give a speech. So gets in front of Tahrir Square, and he says, look, first of all, by the way, he's been modest, incredibly modest throughout. He says, this is not about me. I'm not a hero. The guys who are the heroes are the martyrs that in the streets. All I did was type a bunch of things on a keyboard. But when he gets up there, he says, we are not giving up until our demands are met. And he raised his fist into the air and started to chant, Mubarak, leave, leave, leave. 250,000 people. They said that when he started chanting, the whole place went nuts. And it was such an electric feeling in the air. So all of a sudden, just when Mubarak looked like he had the protesters on the ropes, here comes democracy again. And look, now let me tell you some of the great parts of this, right? Number one, it gives you a sense of hope that, that the man isn't just going to be able to, roll over everybody, because it looked so bad there for a stretch of time when they were hanging on in the square, but the Egyptian people, some of them, because of the propaganda, were thinking, oh, how long is this going to go on? And today and yesterday, the Obama administration, of course, came out and said, oh, no, it's very important that Mubarak stay in government. So all that talk about him resigning immediately, they pulled it back. LA Times had a story on that. And Obama government saying that it's important for democracy that Mubarak stay for the transition to democracy. So it's important for democracy for a guy who's been dictator for 29 years to stay. That makes no sense. That was basically the Obama administration going, which way is the wind going? Oh, it looks like it's going towards Mubarak. Oh, yeah, of course. We've always been in favor of Mubarak. Mubarak's our boy. Oh, yeah, of course. We can't do democracy in Egypt without the dictator. I mean, Mubarak. So, by the way, my level of respect for the Obama administration's on their claims of being for democracy, I can't begin to tell you how low it is now. Look, I mean, for 2 weeks, I was begging, pleading, asking on air, TV, online, saying, please step up. I saw your speech in Cairo. You should have seen me after he gave that speech in Cairo. I remember I was here in New York. I did a show out of Sirius Satellite Radio, and I spent the whole hour talking about what an awesome speech that was. That was one of the best speeches I ever heard. Little did I know at the time he was playing, that he was kidding. I wish I could take back all of my compliments, because that was in theory. Now it's in practice. You guys have people like Wael Ghanim, who's risking his life. You've got all the 300 people that died fighting for real democracy. And what happened? When it's in practice, Obama, Biden, Clinton run for the hills. And they didn't support this democratic movement at all, if you ask me. They just the whole time like, which way is it going? Which way is it going? Well, if they're going to win, we're on their side. Oh, it looks like they're not going to win. Then we're on Mubarak's side. We have profiles and courage.
And at West Host offers web hosting for 19 cents a day. You can't get cheaper. That's
right.
ridiculous. And you could do web host transfers. Like you got a website, transfer.
For free. You have 24/7 support.
60-day money-back guarantee. Well, then you literally can't lose. 25% off if you go to westhost.com/TYT.
You know what I think about that? I think West Host.
West Host.